called Korazim in Aramaic, was founded in the 1st century on the northern higher part of the hill on which it is located. Later, the city developed towards the south and west, and at the end of the 3rd century or the beginning of the 4th century, it reached its peak of prosperity. At that time, its area extended over most of the hill on an area of about 70 dunams, equivalent to 17.5 acres, up to the northern part of the bank of Korazim brook. At that period, the synagogue and the town central quarter were built. At the beginning of the 4th century, some of the city's houses and the synagogues were destroyed, probably due to an earthquake. Eusebius, the bishop of Caesarea in the 4th century, describes it then as a ruined town. In the middle of the 4th century, the town was rebuilt along the same footprint as it was built before the destruction, and existed with repairs and some additions until the beginning of the early Arab period in the 8th century. Then the settlement dwindled until the place was abandoned. In the 12th and 13th century, a small and sparse settlement was renewed in the place. In the 16th century, it was mentioned as a Jewish village, and in the following centuries, the name of the place was Khirbat Karaza. We are located 4 kilometers north to the Sea of Galilee and Capernaum. It was an important town that is mentioned in the Talmud in connection with the finest wheat from which it was proper to bring the Omer to the temple in Jerusalem, if it was closer in distance to Jerusalem. The Omer was the first grain offering that the Israelites brought to the temple. From the first ripening barley at the beginning of Passover as commanded in Leviticus chapter 23. Korazim was founded as a Jewish city according to the purification facility and the synagogue that were discovered there. The city of Korazim was built of basalt stones, as you can see all around. In terms of water supply, there is a lot of precipitation in this area. The rain that falls here is collected using cisterns, and together with the water from Korazim brook, both sources provided the water consumption of the town. It seems that the central quarter consisted of 6 large buildings arranged in 2 rows, 3 buildings in each row, and they were arranged from east to west. There is a mikveh here. Let's go and see it. You see the mikveh, which is a purification bath in Judaism. It has 2 steps above the ground and 7 steps below the ground. The roof is made of very impressive basalt slabs, about 2 meters long each. Near the mikveh, below the surface, is a cistern 3 by 6 meters, and in its center is a column that we cannot see, which supports its stone ceiling. There seems to be a connection between the cistern and the mikveh. The cistern may have been the treasure, meaning a reservoir of a natural flow of water needed for a mikveh. When the cistern was filled, the excess water flowed into the mikveh. A covered water channel was integrated into the stone paving of the surface, which probably received its water from the roofs and led it to the cistern. In some of the existing buildings in the area, there are stones arranged in a form of wall cabinets. They were discovered here in Korazim for the first time, and therefore they are called Korazim's windows. You are probably asking yourself what they were intended for, and I will disappoint you by not having a clear answer. I would love for you to write what you think they were intended for. Any idea is welcome. We are in front of the impressive synagogue. I will mention that there is a dedicated video on the synagogue in Korazim, so I will discuss it only briefly. The front of the building, facing south towards Jerusalem, is a beautiful part of the building. According to the original plan, there is an open space in front of the synagogue. Actually, this is the space, and there are 9 steps taking us upwards, and you can see that most of them are original and some are restored. There were 3 entrances to the synagogue, which today only 2 entrances exist, and I explained the reason in the video about the synagogue. The central large opening was decorated with a magnificent gable, which is found here. As in other Galilee synagogues, here too the central opening was wider and higher than the 2 openings on its sides. We will now visit a very impressive arch house from the 14th and 15th centuries, that is from the Mamluk period, and I will only mention that the houses were built on foundations from the 4th century. The buildings are characterized by 3 double arches which are placed on stone beams. In addition, there is 1 window that enabled some air and light to get into the house. We are at the end of the western quarter. Here we have a facility for the production of olive oil. We have the basin, which was found broken into 3 parts, and 2 squeezing facilities. We see here a newer one, probably served until a few hundreds of years ago, and the other one that is from the 4th or 5th centuries actually looks in quite nice shape. The olive oil production facilities were set inside the city because it was possible to transport the olives into the city without affecting their quality. This is in many cases in contrast to the grapes that had to be handled as close as possible to the place of their harvest. In this case, the squeezing to extract the oil was done with the help of a screw device made of wooden beams, part of which can be seen here. I'm referring to the finding here of this base. Now, this is similar to many other devices of the same period. In the southwest, the hill descends steeply to Korazim brook, which surrounds it from the west and south so that it naturally defines the boundaries of the town. See the beautiful mosaic surface here. In 2019, a 16 square meter wine press was discovered here, decorated with a mosaic floor which dates back to the 3rd to 5th century. We are at the central part of Korazim. We see the beautiful entrance to the synagogue, the wine press, and we are entering now a house of a wealthy family. I hope you were impressed as I am from Korazim. And to conclude, as usual, I have a question for you. Near the synagogue, a group of over 400 coins was found. What period are the coins from? And the answer will appear as usual in 5 seconds.